Hello and welcome to today's webinar on stockpiling cloud storage and what to do next with it. We'll just do some quick introductions and then we'll get started. So I'm Amy Stokes-Waters. I work for Identity Experts as an identity and security specialist, and with me today we have Harold. Harold, would you like to say hello?
Yes, good day everyone. I'm Harold Kruger and I'm the CEO of a company called ITEXACT. We're going to show you one of our lovely offerings we got in the Azure space, and more particularly around storage.
Excellent, thank you, Harold. Harold will be giving us a bit of a demo in a few minutes' time around the solution that we're going to talk about today. So let's start off on a bit of a light-hearted note by asking a question. Who accelerated your digital transformation? So some of you may have seen this joke before, so excuse me if you have, but we're gonna go with it anyway. So was it A, the CTO in his very nice lycra there? Was it B, the CFO in his not so nice lycra? Or is it C, COVID-19? Now, we don't want it to be option C. We don't want COVID-19 to be the reason why people have sort of made that move to the cloud and started doing the whole flexi working thing, but we appreciate that it has definitely accelerated a lot of people's programs around digital transformation and home working. And as part of that, we also know that you've been quite rushed with it. You potentially not secured it as well as you might have done if you'd had the time to sort and sit and think about it. So we're going to talk around how we can help with that today. So let's think about what the problem is. So as we've said, coronavirus, it's forced us all to work from home. So our people who were previously in the office, they're now sitting at home, hopefully not all together like this diagram shows, hopefully in their own respective houses, doing some very good social distancing. With those people moving to home, also we've got their devices that have moved with them. So that's laptops, mobiles, tablets. The desktop devices that they might have had, any desktop computers that are still sitting in the office, we've kind of got rid of them for now. And because everyone's working from home, so they're not logging into the wired network, they're unable to access their applications if they're still sat sort of in the office on premises. So where did we put the applications? Well, we put them in the cloud. So our cloud usage has grown, as you can see from my very nice cloud, getting a lot bigger there. So the problem is that people have preempted this home working. So they've bought a lot of additional virtual machines, or potentially if they've just done a bit of a lift and shift into Azure, then they've bought virtual machines that are too big, potentially not scoped it out that well. In a rush job, that's often what happens. So what are the consequences of that? Well, let's have a look. So the first thing we've seen is that there's been an increased usage of cloud services. So with Teams particularly, that's had an increase of 775% since the end of March, which is quite astonishing if we think about that one. Another one that we can talk about is Windows Virtual Desktop. That's seen an increase of over 300%. There's also Power BI on there. The government's using Power BI to actually look at COVID-19 data and inform their statistics and analysis, and they've increased the usage of Power BI by 42%. And then, as we've said, there's also been that lift and shift into Azure for a lot of organisations who are trying to quickly get their applications sort of internet facing. Along with that, we've also had the fact that Microsoft, quite rightly, are prioritising medical organisations. So in the UK, that's obviously the NHS, but other things that they're prioritising as well in Azure is things like medical supply management, health screening apps, health management applications, emergency routing, emergency reporting applications. So they've reserved some space for those kind of apps as well, and they are prioritising those customers, which we agree they definitely should be doing. But what problem does that give us? Well, we've got a lot of capacity issues. So I don't know whether you have at home have tried to spin up any virtual machines, but you might have noticed that there's not a lot of space. So they've had some capacity issues in Western Europe, obviously including the United Kingdom, some parts of Asia, specifically in India, as well as South America. So Brazil was experiencing quite a lot of issues as well. Along with that, there's also been some deployment issues. So if you have managed to get some space in Azure, then the deployment capabilities for compute resources has been dropping below that 99.9% uptime standard as well. So what's the solution? So our partner, ITEXACT, the lovely Harold, he has a solution called Surveil, talking about, we're going to be talking about one module today called SLIM. So that stands for Security, Licensing and Identity Management. So what does SLIM do? So first off, it analyzes our current usage of Azure, so we can understand the usage with easy-to-read dashboards. We can show the spend, we can show the usage, we can show the VM size, capacity, which helps us to reduce our business spend. So with those dashboards, we can see where there's some real savings could be made on pay-as-you-go subscriptions in both Azure and with your M365 licensing. As part of that, that helps us to free up some cloud storage. So you can see that cloud went from full to empty there. With reserved instances, we can reduce some waste. So if we can understand where our cloud storage is being used, we could free some of that up and we could use that space for other workloads and really use that to drive our cloud first strategy. It also helps us to improve security. So we can understand our joiners and leavers in a single pane of glass. By linking through to Azure Active Directory, so we can see who's been using Azure AD when they've been logging in. If they've last logged in like sort of 2 or 3 months ago, it's likely that they're a leaver, so we can make sure we disable those accounts if that's not already been done. We can also enhance our management information. So the SLIM tool has a lot of in-depth reports that use Power BI natively within the tool. So there's no need for you to be licensed specifically for Power BI, but you can still leverage that the amazing capabilities of that solution. And finally, with our workplace moving to home, we need to embrace the new normal, as it's been called. So with SLIM, we can see where our workers are in the country. We can monitor their usage of the Office 365 and Azure toolset, and we can ensure that we maintain employee engagement and user adoption of our technology stack. So we really want to ensure that if we're rolling out some of these technologies, that people are using it. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Harold, who will be able to show you exactly how it works. So Harold, over to you. Harold, I think you're on mute there.
That'll help a lot. Thank you very much, Amy. I've just shared my screen, so maybe Amy, if you can just confirm you can see it, and then I can.
Yeah, I can see it.
On. So again, hello everybody from I'm down south in Surrey, south of London, here in the UK. If there's any non-UK based visitors on the call. And what I'm going to show you is the SLIM tool, and more specifically on the Azure side. As Amy mentioned, there is a lot about this tool, and there'll be some other sessions around it in Office 365, in modern workplaces, showing you who's working from home, etc. But what we want to focus on today is the Azure side, and in more relation to how you can help on the storage side. And we'll help you save money, and also we'll help the whole situation that we're in at the moment by freeing up some of that storage. So I'm going to just show you a few slideware, hopefully not too much, and then I'll dig into the tool itself. This is just an overview screen that we go into with the tool, and now what I wanted to show you here is on the bottom right. In general, in the interface, no matter what you look at, no matter which analytics you look at, you will be able to see information from pay-as-you-go, if you have some of that, from EA. So if you have an EA agreement, large enterprise, as a CSP provider, if your provider is connected, you as a customer or a reseller can see the same information as well. And of course, Office 365, you can see that information. And we have a few other modules coming in there as well, like on-premise information, that kind of stuff. So it doesn't matter what kind of environment you're connecting with, including the new Azure Modern, the commerce plans. The tool will connect for you and provide you the information. So you're really getting a single view that combines technical with cost. There's a lot of summary dashboards. The tool has got clickable dashboards. We'll go through that. And then it's got the analytics piece that Amy spoke about as well, where you can just get that real visual impact, click around within the Power BI, and very, very effective when you start seeing that in your business categories. And just to mention on the business categories, it becomes prevalent if I just start showing you some of the analytics type screens. What you'll see over here is typically an Azure spreadsheet that you get from Microsoft that shows you what your costs are. It can be hundreds of thousands of lines long. And what we condense that down to, we really simplify it. We put it into the speak that you as a company want to use. So we have our own built-in identifying engine, our own tagging engine, if you want to call it that. I don't want to call it necessarily tags because it's not the same as Azure. But in that system, you can go and maybe you want to see your Azure spend by different cost codes. You might want to see it by system names. You want to see what your SAP ECC E6 environment costs you. You might want to see what a country costs, a region costs, however you want to cut it. The tool gives you that capability to build that. So in the screen in the middle here at the bottom right, for one of our customers, we just broke it down into the kind of system names they would use for their environment. And of course, you can see this over 12 months in history as well. And we also track even resources you've shut down will be available in the resources. And any one of those in different areas, you can go into analytics side, there's hover screens, and you'll see that more prevalent when we actually go into the tool itself. This just gives you a better view on the analytics side. Some sample analytics screens, again, we'll go into tool and show you that. But as an overview, you saw those names of systems like Surveil or Power BI Gateway. It's actually the back-end hosting side of things. Or Rio, whatever it might be. You see the cost, and in the tool you can click on it and you can see all the underlying services. So you're combining your business language over there into what is below. What's very prevalent here, and again we'll show you, is when you click on one of these, you can go and see what's consuming those resources for the last few months. So whether it's storage, and then there's a deeper dive area you can get into the storage. The combination of being able to take EA separate costing with technical Azure allows us a number of things. So we can give you these different views. Maybe you want to see it, as I mentioned, by production or your test environments. What's your development environment costing you? What's your test environment costing you for SAP or for Cognos or one of those systems? And you can also then identify that over any number of days. So you see the 1 day, 3 days, 5 months. So it gives you that flexibility to see your costs change immediately. There's a planning tool built into it as well. So if you see things that are wrong, maybe you're a technical lead or an IT manager or something like that. And incidentally, anybody could log into this tool. It could be a finance person. On the Office 365, we have a lot of HR type people logging in as well. C-levels. You know, it just depends. You'll get access to different areas. It's all multi-tenant, it's multi-role, multi-user access, all leveraging your Microsoft Azure accounts as well. So we don't store any passwords. You're in control of the access. This here is just showing you a bringing together of information. So you're seeing on the left here, obviously some of it's masked out. What is in the resource, what it's costing, what the previous cost was. So if you chose a month, what the previous month was. If you chose 6 months, what the previous 6 months were. And you can very quickly get a view in one place. These are all the kind of tags you may have assigned to it. You might have, if you're supporting some customers on the back of this, you might want to put customer names in there. You want to know who's supporting the environment, like the Modern Workplace team, or maybe it's the DBA team, or you might want to know who the business owner is, who the technical owner is, who the architect is, whatever tags you want to put in there, you've got the capability to put that in. And again, this doesn't write to Azure. We only need for the entire tool suite. We only need read access. We store all of this kind of tagging information anywhere. There is actually a button. So if you clean this all up, you may want to write that back to your Azure. You can do that as well. And you'll see the kind of category here. And if you can see on the right-hand side here, we're even showing you stuff that's been deleted. So a lot of times people may want to internally or for their customers need to build for some virtual machines or VDIs or something like that that have been put in there last month and they're put up and automatically brought down and deleted. And somebody says, well, I need more information about that. I'm sorry, it's not there anymore, so I can't show you. We can. So we keep that history and you can see whether it's running, whether it's attached, detached, deleted. You've got the equal amount of information. Obviously, on a deleted resource, you're not going to see resource utilization anymore, but you'll see everything else about it. And then last, just to show you this real combination where you're actually seeing, it doesn't matter again if it's EA, whether it's CSP, whether it's pay as you go. As a matter of fact, we support Azure Stack as well. If there's anybody out there that's using Azure Stack, we support costing on Azure Stack as well, both as a provider And on the CSP side, we support 3 tiers. So there needs to be the provider, there can be then the reseller, and then the end customer. And any one of them can put different pricing in so a reseller can put their own pricing in that their end customer can see. Or it could just be direct enterprise access. But here again, you're seeing in one screen, you're seeing costs at the top, you're seeing what you're paying for. So this might be a VM, but you're seeing you're paying for bandwidth and VM associated with that resource, all the kind of tagging, the high level Microsoft details about it, and you're seeing a lot of metrics on it. So that's what I wanted to show you as a high level. And what I'm going to do now is just take you straight into the tool. So I've logged into Saval Slimia using my Microsoft Azure AD account. Very high level, you're seeing high level summaries on Azure, on CSP, on Office 365, on risk and governance, on-prem, all of these kind of menus you're seeing down the side here. Now, I'm not going to go into any of these. This is where the modern workplaces, for example, where we show you who's working at home, who's in the office at the moment. We can show you things about your 365 license. We can show you on-premise information, security information. What we're really interested in today is the Azure side. So I will go in, I've created some, this is a small test environment. I've created some tags in there, again, internally in our system. We don't need access to Azure. And I've just gone and called them different things. So maybe I want to see by cost code, and this is my cost for cost code. And I saw it for the last 30 days, but maybe somebody's told me they've shut down something, storage, VM, in the last day or two. Let me go and verify that. And I can then go and look at these, and I can see in this cost code here, or maybe more applicable system name, we can see in the last 3 days, there's been a 2% increase on this particular costing area. And I might want to go and see, right, why is that? Why is this Saval Hybrid Cloud Management QA environment gone up? And I can see, well, the impact is mainly this resource here. It's a compute virtual machine. That's what it's called. And I can go straight in, see the costs up there, see all the associated. There's some bandwidth costs as well. There's some licensing cost for SQL Server Standard in this case. And then you can see a lot of the usage metrics as well in the back end. So very quickly, as an overview, you're getting to see a lot of information in your business speak, however that might be. You might want to, for example, see what is your production test UAT environment going, because you've told the guys to switch things off over weekends, the guys and girls, and maybe they have or haven't. You can go and verify that very quickly here, but maybe it's more applicable over 30 days. All of this goes into your PhoneOps, so this is something your financial people may be interested in, and incidentally, any of these screens you can export into XLS and very quickly get to a point where you can put it into a pivot table, into your own internal billing systems, however you may want to do it. But here you can see those same categories that were created. You can see them on the left here, and as long as you've had the tool, we will show you this resource utilization. Matter of fact, when you connect, we will show you 12 months back if you're on EA, right? If you pay as you go, one of those, we need the month to build it up. But if you're on EA, the minute you create a rule set to identify what is your SAP ECC costs, we will show you 12 months back worth of those rules. So you get this view and you can export it. And again, this could be by system name, cost code, and you've got the capability to do any form of customized tags as well, whatever you want to call it. You also get the view. This sucks it straight out of the Microsoft portal, so it just takes a little bit to update it. But what you're seeing here is the technical view as well, the way you would get the bills, and you're seeing that on a month-by-month basis. Very useful if you're trying to very quickly see where the main impact of cost is, especially in large organizations. Most important, we have a rules engine in the back end at the moment, which is 11 different rules on the Azure side. We've got well over 37 rules or so on the Office 365 side. But on the Azure side, we can go straight in and very quickly see a summary of recommendations. Now, this is a small test environment. So what you're seeing here is it's found 6 of the rules. There is 11. So you would go in here and very quickly it'll tell you that you've got some capability to save money on reserved instances, on hybrid benefit. You've got some idle services that maybe you want to downgrade or maybe do something else with, idle databases. You've got a whole lot of information here to save you money. And on the small install, there's your potential saves. I may, for example, I want to see what hybrid benefit I can have. There's my machines on hybrid benefit, or maybe even a deeper dive on hybrid benefit. It'll actually show me the VMs that could be there. If you're in an EA environment where you've got software assurance, it'll show you what you've already applied and what you haven't applied. So more pertinent again, if we go into this on the storage side, we can see number one, abandoned disks. So these are disks that nobody's using, nothing's using. So we may as well go and remove them. Now you can delete them from here if you want to, but we prefer you just to go into Azure and do some double checks. Again, this is read only. So what you would do here is you can see the resource. You can then click view on Azure. Now, if I click on it, it's going to come up with an error because I'm not logged into Azure with my admin account, but you can just log into your admin account and then you'll see your Azure resources. And you can go and see again some more information on that particular resource. And you've at any point in time, you've got access to that resource and you can go and do things with it. If you look at idle storage, so banner disk is quite obvious, you need to go and delete it. But on idle storage, so you're not seeing much movement, it's still attached, it's still being used, you may want to do some planning around it. So what we show you here is, this particular piece of storage, we haven't seen any activity for the last 30 days. You want to go and have a look at this. And these can be thousands of pounds when you're talking about a larger company environment. And what you might want to do is say, let me add this to a plan. And I want to do Optimise, which want to call, give us a name. And when is my expected completion date? I need my team to work on this and I expect this to be done by the 24th. It's the kind of stuff you would stick into a spreadsheet maybe, onto a piece of paper just to remind you. And you can then go and say, what do you want to do with it? I want to shut it down and delete it. I want to enable this rule set. And please action immediately. I want to put some notes and other people can put notes back to you as well. And I can save that. And it then goes into a plan. And if I go and look in the planning tab down at the bottom, I can go and see my resource planner. I can go and see my storage planner. And this is the plan that I just added over here. I'm still on target because I put in a date that it's still coming. It will automatically check for you. Has it been shut down or not? I can see I'm on target. This one here, which I've already gone overdue. This was due to go down April 10th. And so I'm overdue. So you've got a very quick view of your plans as well. The thing with Azure is you might phone somebody and say, what about this piece of storage? And they said, no, I just deleted it. And you can just resync. And instead of it waiting for the night job to run, you can just resync it and then re-verify on the storage side. So you've got some great capability around planning. Just to show you, we have got, this shows you your subscriptions. These ones here, we don't have an EA agreement in this test environment. But to give you an example, here is an EA environment from a customer, just to see it's the same thing. So whether you've got CSP, pay-as-you-go, EA, it gets presented in the same way. It's the same underlying data, and it can all be combined. You can have a mix, right? And here you can see, for example, this comes through from an EA. There's the costs, and you wouldn't see that normally. If you log into Azure and you look at a resource, you try and see its cost, it's gonna say it's under EA or it's under CSP. You're not going to see those costs there. And just to give you another view of it, this, for example, there's an EA entered. I've just masked out our customer's name, and you can actually see the committed values and everything else as you would in the EA portal. So just to confirm to you, that information around EA. Right, and then the last piece, but not least, is on the BI analytics side. So this is leveraging Power BI embedded in the back end, so we can put code into this. And we can build also very customized reports for you as a customer. So we have the capability to add extra licensing tabs on. We have the capability to put extra reporting tabs in. We can create custom ones, maybe ones that you've created already. We can bring it into the same portal. So if you clicked on BI Analytics in our admin side of the portal, which if you're a partner, you would use it for your white labeling instance, or if you're a customer, you would have admin access to your particular area. And you could go in the back end and create some custom menus underneath that. You can set access rights to it, everything else. So this is just a summary. And if I just go into, I'm just going to pick a few of them. You can see there's a whole bunch of them. But here's a screen, for example, that shows you for our Azure billing environment, or maybe for something called Chaotic websites or Judge CRM, whatever it is. If I click on them, it shows me what my underlying costs are. So I can see here, I've got some standard SSD disk on this one. And HD managed disks as well. So you very quickly start getting to view what disks you have. And you can then start looking at it by location, business, everything else, but more particular to storage again. If I just go into a little bit more detail on the meters side, I can see here is my overall costs. So I might want to say, right, let me go and have a look at my storage. I can go in there, I can drill down, and I can see that's how my storage costs are coming through. So there's premium SSD managed disk for that amount. It's a standard HDD managed disk, and you can start asking questions around this. Let me see a little bit more about this here. I can drill down and go into the next level, and I can see there's S4 disk, S15 disk, S10 disks, and some disk operations. And that's how my cost is broken down. And again, if I want to go even another level of detail deeper, I might want to see more information about my storage. I would actually look at it over here, and if I go into there, I might say, right, in Surveil, what is my costs? I can see actual storage used under S15. I can see various, sorry, that's the cost side. So you can see various cost side of things. And if I go into the usage side, this is the tab I actually want to get into, my apologies. This is now showing you your actual storage used. And I may want to select over the last 3 months, and it'll show me what I've spent over the last 3 months. And how's that been broken out? Well, I've got unit GBs, so storage gets sold in different ways. And there's my GBs, and I might say, right, how is Surveil? Surveil is using LRS snapshots, and it's about 37 GBs a month on average. And down here, I can see actual disks. So this is operating system attached disks, that type of thing. So you've got 4 disks there, and then also by quantity of meter name, so operations, disk read write operations. So you've got a wealth of tools. You've got a wealth of different reports over here. Again, you can add all sorts of custom reports. And so for getting into understanding what your actual disk utilization is as a company and where you can start focusing is very, very quick and easy. We've got all the tools in there to help you do that. You've got the analytics capability that can really be customized. You've got this live dashboard where you can go into recommendations. You can export anything into Excel at any time. So it's really not difficult to go and find a lot more enhanced information and really get to understand where you can save on storage. I'll give you a great example. People create a test environment or a UAT environment or a dev environment, and you just see tons of storage against it, and it's SSD storage and that, and you query, why is it SSD storage? Well, it's because we're testing, so we need the performance. But do you really need all 600 gigabytes of that storage? So you start as a manager, as a leader, or as an architect, or maybe a senior technical person. You start asking those questions. And that's what I wanted to show you today. So back over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Harold. That was really, really interesting. I'm going to try and share my screen again. Where was it? Here we go. Can you see that, Harold?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm still just seeing you. AS.
Oh.
There you go.
There we go. Always takes a little while. So thank you very much for that demo. And now if we just quickly talk around the next steps. One of the offerings that we've got is we can do a health check on your current environment to help you take stock of your cloud usage. So it'll give you some ideas of the kind of savings you could be making, the kind of space that you could be freeing up within your Azure environment. Alternatively, if you're interested in learning a bit more about what Slim can do for your organization from a wider perspective, you want to learn around the Office 365 side of things as well, then feel free to get in touch. There's my contact details on the screen now, and I'd be more than happy to have a chat around that. Otherwise, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Harold, for joining me today. Hope everyone's learned a lot. Have a lovely weekend and stay safe.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, and nice to virtually meet.